Good morning everyone! Matsayang morning Batang Mandunong and to all our home learning partners. Welcome to Project eDream. Division, remediation, and enhancement of aptitude in mathematics through e-learning. This is Teacher Marianne from Plainview Elementary School. For today's lesson, I will be discussing finding the missing number in an equation involving properties of operations in Mathematics 4, Quarter 3, Week 5. Are you ready? At the end of the learning episode, you are expected to find the missing number in an equation involving properties of operations. Before we start, let us first unlock the meaning of the different terms we are going to use in this lesson. Equation, a mathematical sentence that states the equality of expressions. Example, 5 plus 5 equals 10. Distributive property of multiplication over addition, when a factor is multiplied by the sum of two terms. It is essential to multiply each of the two numbers by the factors and finally perform the addition. Commutative property. The change of order does not affect the result. Associative property. Changing the grouping of addends or factors does not change the sum or product. Identity property. For addition and subtraction, any number added or subtracted by 0 is equal to the same number. For multiplication and division, any number multiplied or divided by 1 is equal to the same number. Now, let's proceed to the properties of operations. Number 1, distributive property of multiplication over addition. Next, commutative property. Third, associative property. And the last one, identity property. The first one is distributive property of multiplication over addition. It is when a factor is multiplied by the sum of two terms. It is essential to multiply each of the two numbers by the factors and finally perform the addition. Let's take a look at our example. The factor, which is 5, multiplies to the sum of 3 and 4. According to the distributive property, the factor should be multiplied to the addends. So, it will be 5 times 3 plus 5 times 4. Now, we will multiply 5 to the sum of 3 and 4, which is 7. On the other side, 5 times 3 is equals to 15 plus 5 times 4 is to 20. 5 times 7 is equals to 35. 15 plus 20 is equals to 35. As we can see, the answers of the factor times the sum and the distributive property are the same. Now, let's move forward to the next property, which is commutative property. It is when the change of order does not affect the result. Let's have commutative property of addition. 7 plus 5. Even if we exchange its order to 5 plus 7, we will have the same sum. Let's see. 7 plus 5 is 12. 5 plus 7 is 12. See, Commutative property does not affect the result even if numbers change in order. Now, let's have another example for commutative property of multiplication. If we change 6 times 4 into 4 times 6, it will have the same product. 6 times 4 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. Our second to the last property is associative property of addition. It is changing the grouping of addends does not change the sum. On the given example, 9 plus 7 plus 3. 9 plus 7 is considered as one group. If we will change its grouping, then we will copy 9 plus the group of 7 plus 3. 9 plus 7 is equals to 16 plus 3. Copy 9 plus 7 plus 3 is equals to 10. 16 plus 3 is equals to 19. Same to 9 plus 10 is equals to 19. Now, let's try the associative property of multiplication. Changing the grouping of factors does not change the product. Following the associative property, 3 times 9 times 2, we copy 3 times the group of 9 times 2. Then, 3 times 9 is 27 times 2 is equals to 3 times 18, which is the product of 9 and 2. 27 times 2 is equals to 54. 3 times 18 is equals to 54. The last property of operations is identity property. In addition and subtraction, the identity element is 0. Any number added or subtracted by 0 is equal to the same number. Let's have these examples. 13 plus 0 is equals to 13. 18 minus 0 is equals to 18. Now, let's have the identity property of multiplication and division. In multiplication and division, the identity element is 1. Any number multiplied or divided by 1 is equal to the same number. Let's use the following. 27 times 1 is equals to 27. 32 divided by 1 is equals to 32. Is there any question? Now, it's your turn. Try to answer the following. Find the missing number in the equation. 1 and 2. 5 times is equals to 7 times 3 and 4. 3 times 8 plus 6 is equals 3 times plus 3 times number 5. 8 plus 2 plus 5 is equals to 8 plus 5. Now, here are the answers for our enrichment activity. Number 1 and 2. For number 3 and 4. Number 5. Magaling, Batang Mandunong! This is Teacher Mary Ann saying, matuto sa matematika para ang buhay ay matsaya. Keep safe, everyone!